As I said in a previous video, we were talking about fantasy tropes and how I believed that most tropes could be done well if written by a good writer that could take it, make the trope their own, and put a different spin on it. I don't feel like each trope is bound by what it's inherently defined as, if you get what I mean by that. And made a video the other day talking about my favourite tropes and what ones I'd happily see, even if they're not done to the best of their ability, I guess, but also like if they're not as unique, I'd still enjoy them. But today we're going to be talking about the worst fantasy tropes, and these are the ones that come up which can easily be handled poorly and get on my nerves a little bit. Before we probably get into the video, make sure the usual stuff of liking and subscribing, and tell me, what is your favourite fantasy trope and what is your worst fantasy trope? The one that really gets on your nerves whenever you see it come up in a book. So starting off with number 5, we've got Resurrection. And this can be done okay, but mostly it can really fall flat and is kind of annoying. Because you'll kill off a character and then you'll leave the reader and give them enough time to grieve over this loss and kind of accept the weight of the kind of event that's just happened, and then it'll be undone. And to the reader, that feels like you've tricked them. You've made them do one thing to then have that all taken aback. And like, basically, their time spent grieving is now redundant. There are ways to make this work if this is established previously, but even then, if this is kind of set up beforehand, that this is something that can happen, when a character does die, the weight itself of what's happening isn't right. It's not the same, because they are aware of the character can then come back, so they won't spend as much time grieving over the loss, which kind of works. But if you are to let it happen where this is unaware, this is not something you know can happen, and then you bring them back, it kind of undercuts what's originally been done. That is why there's some controversy over how Gandalf is handled. And this is where he is originally killed off, and then kind of you're thought to believe he's dead, and then afterwards he's brought back as Gandalf the White, another incarnation, and there's a little bit over there like, oh, he's now a different person, but then once you get down to it, he's like, especially in terms of his personality and things like that, is mostly the same. And that's the kind of difficulty you have there. This is all right in a way, because Gandalf he doesn't perform much for the plot. Like, even though he got this like abilities, these kind of unique magic, it's the same if you're talking about like a magic system and you got like soft magic system, but he doesn't do anything that instantly kind of solves the plot or anything. So his resurrection, in a way, even though being a character that people love and he's brought back, he isn't brought back to then fix something for the plot, and it's not like directly impacting what's going on, which is a little bit better. But like I said, very easily this can be done wrong, not really wrong, but can not work and can take away from the original kind of death and make the reader themselves kind of annoyed, because they've spent time kind of grieving over this death, accepting what's just happened, and then it's just taken aback, and you now have kind of made that time what they had kind of null, which isn't very fun. Let's switch over to number 4. And this one I don't have to talk about too long, because I know that there are quite a few people that also can agree with me on this one. But I do not like the kind of secret royalty. And it just feels so coincidental half the time. And it just doesn't feel likely at all. It's implausible, it's annoying. Sometimes it can be done right, but most of the time this is just like, it's never the initial kind of point. It's always like oh wait, this person's royalty, and now it solves all the problems, and I'm just, no, find a better way. Sometimes, most of the time, this is done poorly and it's annoying. And yeah, secret royalty is bad. I do not like it. I don't know if I'm the only one here, but I know there I've spoken to other people who also agree with me on this one. It's mostly, like I said, added afterwards to fix problems that were originally set up, and that is annoying because it's like so coincidental. You can't like predict this at first. It's just a bit annoying. Obviously, there are ways it can be done properly, like it can be set up, and if you leave it to set up, if you set things up and slowly add pieces to it that kind of lead towards this, it's a little bit better. But if you just like dump it on the reader to solve the problems, it's not very good. For number 3, this one's kind of similar to what I mentioned in the 5th one, but this is how soft magic systems can be used to fix the plot. And this is one I talked about in a previous video about the hard versus soft magic systems and kind of define them. But let me just quickly define them for you. So a hard magic system is one that's got a lot of rules that the reader themselves can probably understand how it works and why it works. And then a soft magic system is something where it's more done for kind of wonder and surprise, and it's not. So I like to use the example, I've said it many times, of Gandalf and the One Ring. The One Ring is a very hard magic system. You understand how that works and what it does. And then Gandalf does whatever he wants. And that's kind of the soft magic system. And normally it's not one or the other. It might be like somewhere in between, but it's that kind of area. And the issue with using a soft magic system to fix the plot, to solve a thing, sometimes it's alright if it's earlier on. But if you have like the giant kind of climax of the book, and it ends in the soft magic system being used to fix what's going on, it doesn't work. Because the reader themselves feel cheated, because they could never get to the point where they could, like, in most books, the readers like to be able to kind of, if you were to go back and for a second read through, you can read and you can see the clues that led up to this was something that is plausible. Whereas for the soft magic system, you don't know how it works or what it does, and then it's used to fix the giant problem that you've been set up for the entire book, and then you're like, how was I supposed to guess that? How was I supposed to like understand how this was working? It's weird. It's a story thing. I can probably go into it in a lot more detail in another video. I need to do a bit of research so I can get the right terms and stuff. But yeah, soft magic system being used to fix the plot is annoying, and it gets on my nerves because there's no way for you to be able to get to the same point that the author was at to be able to understand how this all came about. And that's why I prefer hard magic systems, because I can know the rules and the way these are applied. And it's just a unique way it's done, rather than, oh, this person can do this. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, and now they've just killed the person, killed the big dude, because they used magic that I didn't know they could use. It's weird, but yeah. And for number 2, we've got the trope. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's the killing the big bad equals killing everything. So you've got this. A classic example of this is in Avengers. This isn't done badly in Avengers, I'd say, and it's where they destroy the big ship, and then all the Chitauri or whatever just fall dead. And another problematic example is in Game of Thrones. If you've watched the TV show, the end, where the Night King, once they kill the Night King, all the White Walkers and all of those all die off because they've killed the one big bad. And the issue with that is that it builds up expectations that are never going to be met, because you need to make sure that the big bad is killed off in a spectacular way, and that it's done that really makes it work. And the issue there is that you're building up like these expectations of how cool it's going to be once the big bad's defeated, and if you don't live up to, if you miss the mark by like a tiny bit, it falls flat, because you can't make one character's death amount to everything, I guess. I don't really know how to describe it. And like I said, that if you've watched Game of Thrones and you've seen that, you can see how kind of weak it can feel, because if you get the Night King's just stabbed, and then you're like, oh, now all of them are dead. And it just means the threat itself is, it's weird, because as soon as you have like the big bad character, quite a lot of the times comes into the fight, and you feel that is just like a really rookie move, because if that person is what's kind of keeping everything else alive, and so that person going into the fight is just a dumb move, because as soon as that one's dead, everyone's dead. But the only way you can really have the big bad to be defeated is if they come into the fight or come near enough to the main protagonist. It's just flaws. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it, honestly. But like I said, sometimes at work, Avengers it's not too bad. But Game of Thrones is an example where I did not like it. And now for the last trope, which is going to be a bit controversial because I see this all over Instagram and people seem to love it. But I'm not a fan at all. And I'm going to use an example here that you guys are probably not going to like either. But anyway, number one is going to be the enemies to lovers trope. I do not like this trope at all. It annoys me. I don't mind enemies becoming allies. That's alright, but going as far as this, especially is I'm going to use the example of if you've ever watched the more recent Star Wars trilogy, you have Rey and Kylo Ren. And the issue with this is that they spend the initial part of the trilogy fighting in actual lightsabers duels, trying to kill one another, and then at the end you have them kiss whatever, and then you have it so that they are kind of accepting one another, and it just promotes like a really harmful relationship that you start off with the actual attempt of killing each other to then have this, and it's just it depends. You might be able to make this work if you have them less as a physical combatant and have it like more mental, so planning things, trying to like scheme against one another to kind of make their life hell. But the actual physical violence, when you add that in, it makes it kind of questionable, and I'm just not a big fan of it. And quite often this can be done poorly and make me kind of cringe a little because it's just a bit weird. But like I said, there are enemies to allies kind of thing, because as I've said before, Zuko from Avatar The Last Airbender is one of the best character arcs, one of the best characters you can see on TV. But having it that one step further into lovers is just yeah, problematic to say the least. Anyway, thank you for watching. Make sure the usual stuff of liking and subscribing, and I will leave a video either side of me. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.